Let's talk about cross on bottom, which is the first step for both the CFOP method and the CFBLL method. Hey folks, welcome to the Pugs Solves Cubes channel. I'm Pugs, a very mid-speed cuber with an average solve time around 35 seconds. I don't compete, I don't turn that fast, I'm not trying to set any records or even get all that much faster. I just love solving the cube as quickly as I can. The beginner method teaches us to make a white cross on top and then turn the entire cube over, rotate the entire cube over to start working on placing the correct corner pieces in the bottom layer. To show you what I mean by that, if you're not familiar with it, so we would make a white cross on top, and we would do that by, like, we have a red and white edge here, right? And we can put that in the top layer, but you can see that it's not aligned with the correct color centerpiece. So we need to do a U turn to align it with the correct centerpiece. We can then, like, for instance, we have this blue and white edge piece. We can flip that up into the top layer, but you can see that that's not properly aligned. So we would have to turn the top layer before flipping that up to the top layer, so that when we turn it back to keep that red alignment, we now have the blue alignment also. And then we would have this green-white edge piece down here. This green-white edge piece. If we simply rotate that to the top, we have the same problem. So we would turn the top layer, then bring it up to the top, then turn the top layer back to get that aligned. And then we have this bad edge here, this misoriented edge here, where it's in the correct place, but it's facing the wrong direction. So we would have to do something like take it out of the top layer, turn the top layer, move it into the top layer with the correct orientation, and then turn that top layer back. And so you can see now that we have a white cross, we can then turn the cube over and start placing the bottom layer corner pieces in their correct locations. And you can see that that takes extra moves. Turning the top layer back and forth to get the edges properly aligned. And then it requires rotating the cube over. And as we're doing that, that not only takes time, but we also might lose sight of some of the pieces that we're tracking for our next moves, etc. So, another approach that's taught with the beginner method, or the layer by layer method as it's also called, is the yellow daisy. So when you have the yellow side facing up, the yellow centerpiece facing upwards, you can make a daisy shape. So if you ignore the corner pieces because they're not part of the shape that we're making, you can see we have the yellow center of a daisy and then the 4 white petals of the daisy. And we would color match them to the correct center pieces on these 4 sides, the same way that we just did for the white cross on top. And then we would, once we have the yellow daisy, we would then turn the white tiles so that they are facing downwards, giving us the white cross on bottom, right? You can see that that requires extra moves, and extra moves means extra time. So methods like CFOP and CFBLL, instead of doing a white cross on top or a yellow daisy on top, it has us do the white cross on the bottom, or just a cross on the bottom. And there's a few levels of doing cross on bottom. And we're not going to talk about the third level because it's a fairly advanced stage, a fairly advanced topic, advanced stage of development that a lot of cubers are not at. I am not at that stage, and I don't know if I ever will be. And that's color neutrality, where it doesn't matter what color your first cross is, what your first layer is. I'm still stuck very much on doing white cross on bottom. I can do yellow cross on bottom, but for the most part, I almost always do white cross on bottom unless it's an entirely problematic start. So to do, so like I said, color neutrality is the third level of cross on bottom. The other two levels, the first level, the easiest level, is edge color matching, right? As you are placing the edge pieces on the bottom to form the white cross. So for instance, we have a green and white edge piece here. We would line it up with the correct color centerpiece and then place it on the bottom in its correct location. Here we have this red and white edge piece that if we were to simply put that on the bottom layer, it would be wrong. It would not be aligned with the correct color. So what we could do is we could turn it up into the top layer, move it over the correct color centerpiece, and then place it. So now we have green and red placed properly, right? We could then, luckily, the blue and white edge piece got set up for us as we did that. So we can just line that color up and then place that blue-white edge piece. And then we have the red and white, green. We have 3 of our edge pieces done. And then for the orange white edge piece, we'd simply move the top layer so that it's over the correct centerpiece and place it. So we are matching the colors of the edge piece and the centerpiece as we are placing the edge pieces and forming our white cross on the bottom. You can see that it's a few extra moves to line them up with the correct color before placing them. So it does take extra moves, and extra moves do add up to extra time. But this is a great place to start. In spite of the extra moves it takes to line up the colors, what it helps you to do is it helps you to start visualizing the white cross on bottom. Because, of course, the advantage of doing the white cross on top or doing the yellow daisy on top is that you can see what you are doing. You can see the pieces move around. You can see them being placed in the correct place. When it's on the bottom, you lose that visibility into it, right? So instead, you have to visualize it in your head. You have to visualize the white cross that you are making as you do the moves. So this is a great place to start if you're just starting out on that journey and you're just starting to try to learn how to visualize movements that you can't see. So great place to start, but we can be faster if we don't do those extra movements to line up the colors before placing the edge pieces. So that's level 2, which is edge color independence. So for instance, we have this green-white edge piece, and it is all set to be placed in the bottom layer. It's correctly oriented. So now it's placed in the bottom layer. I don't care that it's not lined up with the green centerpiece, which is right here. That doesn't matter to me at this point in time. Instead, what I'm focused on is the GOBR order: green, orange, blue, red. The GOBR order going counterclockwise. So if I have a green here, then it's going to be orange, blue, red. The rest of the edge pieces, I'm only looking at the edge pieces, ignore the center pieces. I have a green here, so it means orange, blue, red. I'm focused on that GOBR order. So if I have green here, this orange and white edge piece, I can turn that bottom layer, and then I place the orange, and now we have green and orange in correct GOBR order. I have this blue edge piece here, and so if I do a D2 move, I can then place that blue, green, orange, blue, keeping that GOBR order. Now, in placing this edge piece here, we have the advantage that it's also setting up our next move, because this red edge piece, red-white edge piece here, is a bad edge. It's misoriented. It's not white side facing down. So as we place that blue piece, it fixed that bad edge for us so that we can place the red edge piece like that. Or we can actually take care of both of them at the same time, which is another one of the concepts, which is always try to do more than one thing at a time. So we're doing two things here. We're placing the blue edge piece, and we're fixing this bad edge down here, the red, white bad edge. So we're doing two things there, but we can do two better things by, instead of doing F moves, if we do an F prime, look, our red-white edge piece gets set up to be placed, and then we do another F prime, and our blue piece is placed, and then we do a D2 move, and everything, we have our white cross, and they're color matched to the center pieces, if that makes sense. So they tell me that, or they tell us that the white cross can be completed in 8 or fewer moves. So I've never done the math or sat down and tried to do the experiments to try to count every move to make sure that that is true, but that's what they tell us, and I believe them. But what the important part of that isn't the 8 moves or less. The important part of that is that it encourages us to plan. So plan and try to do more than one thing at a time, instead of just placing things one at a time. Like, here's green, so I'm going to place that green, and then that was the blue, so I'm going to place the blue, and now I'm going to place this orange edge piece here, and now this red edge piece I'm going to place last, and then I'm going to turn everything back, right? Instead of doing things one piece at a time, focus on trying to make a plan out your approach to the white cross on bottom in a way that is going to, maximize your moves and help you the most. So for instance, when I look at this, I have 2 edge pieces that are already color matched. I don't even have to worry about the color independence yet. They're already color matched, and I have this blue, even though that's a bad edge, it is set up perfectly for me. So this actually is a very simple cross solution, because by placing this orange white edge, right? On the way, I can place the blue white edge, which sets up this red white edge, which I can then finish that orange white edge, and then I can finish the green edge. And so I've done multiple things all at the same time. Instead of just placing the edges one at a time, I'm placing them and using the placement of each one to set up one or more of the other edges to be placed. So planning out your cross like that is very beneficial. And that's the whole point of that 8 moves or less, is to challenge yourself to have the most efficient white cross solution. So this white cross solution, when I look at it, I have GOBR order already for some of the for the green and the red edges, so I might tackle those first. And by doing that, then I can set up this blue white edge to be placed there, and this orange white edge to be placed here and then there. So I'm planning out my cross solution so that there's as few moves as possible, and so that I'm setting up the next edge piece to be placed as I'm placing one or another. Let's try. There's one other concept I want to show you that it's just something that you can watch for. It's hard to, you can't, like, it doesn't always happen automatically, but it is nice when it does. So for instance, I'm looking at GOBR opposite pairs. So green and blue are opposite from each other in that GOBR order, right? Red and orange are opposite from each other in that GOBR order. So right now what I have is a green and blue GOBR pair, opposite pair, that are ready to be placed. So I have this blue-white edge that's ready to be placed here. This green-white edge that's ready to be placed opposite of it here. And I'm going to be fixing this bad edge when I place that green-white edge. So I place that blue-white edge, I place that green-white edge, and now I am in a place where if I do a D2 move, I have the orange and red pairs opposite each other ready to be placed. Red pair, red edge piece gets placed there. Orange edge piece gets placed there, and oops, I turned the wrong way because I'm brilliant that way. But by getting those opposite pairs set up, I can it makes for an efficient cross solution. So if you can look for those GOBR opposite pairs, they don't always happen, but when they do, it does make for an efficient solution. And if you can look for ways to do more than one thing at a time to plan the most efficient cross solution you possibly can, hopefully that will help you speed up your times as you're forming the white cross on bottom. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell for more content like this. Until the next video, happy cubing y'all.